Hmm.
Very easy. The chapter is pretty easy. Okay. So working capital, even though the chapter is easy, it has been asked many times in the exam. Okay. So let us see what they are focusing on right now. Okay, they will not be focusing on operating cycle. Okay, but they will be focusing more on your actual working capital requirement. Okay, then factoring and early settlement discounts. So that is what you will expect in the exam. Okay. So
Okay.
working capital is simple. Working capital is what? Current assets minus current liabilities.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. Okay. So now we want to see what all will consist in current assets, correct, and what all will consist in current liabilities. Okay. So current assets means receivables, correct.
Hmm.
Then receivable means your debtors, in short, credit sales. Okay. Receivables, then cash payments, cash in hand, cash at bank. Okay. Then comes stock. Okay. Stock will be important over here because we will bifurcate the stock in three parts. So stock of raw material,
Work in progress and
correct,
finished goods.
stock of WIP, and stock of finished goods. Stock of finished goods. Okay. So we have to bifurcate the stock into three parts. So inventory will be divided into three parts: raw material, WIP, and finished goods. Correct. Then comes other receivables. Other receivables such as your adjustments like prepaid expenses, expenses that you already paid.
Hmm.
Okay, but service is still receivable. That is your other receivables. Correct. So that is how we'll bifurcate our current assets. Okay. Now when you calculate the receivables, so I'll write here current assets. Huh? So when we calculate receivables, okay, what you will consider? Credit sales into period. Okay. Whatever we have sold on credit, don't take the entire sales, only take the credit sales. Correct. Into whatever is the current period required. If they are saying the requirement is 2 months, or they are saying the credit policy is 3 months, then credit sales into 3 by 12. Correct. Or they are saying the yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
They are saying the credit sales is, let us say, 65 days or 70 days, then credit sales into 70 by 365. That will be your receivables required for the working capital. Correct. So working capital is generally what it is, generally for specific period. Correct. It is required for a specific period. Correct. So we are going to calculate as per the specific period. Correct. So whatever period they mention, we'll have to consider it over here. Cash as it is given in the problem. Okay. Cash, whatever cash they have given in the problem, will take it in your receivables. Sorry, in your current assets. But it does not mean कि credit sales 80% है and cash sales is 20%. So 20% is cash. No, cash sales is different, and cash in hand, cash at bank is different. Okay. So
Can
don't
you repeat?
assume. I'll repeat again. If credit sales are 80% and cash
Huh?
sales are 20%, doesn't mean those 20% cash sales will write in cash.
Okay.
Okay. Cash in hand, cash at bank is different. It is the overall cash in hand. Okay.
Hmm.
Cash sales will be directly recorded in trading account. Okay. So don't record cash sales over here. If nothing is given about cash, then don't write cash. Okay.
Okay.
Remaining, if credit sales is 80%, doesn't mean remaining 20% should be written over here. Okay. That is not the meaning. Okay. So cash means what? That is cash in hand or cash at bank. Only these two. Only these two. Cash at bank. Or they can also give you short-term investment. They can also give you
Hmm.
short-term investment. Like in cash flow, we say cash and cash equivalent. Correct? So any cash equivalent will be written in cash. So that can be cash in hand, cash at bank, or short-term investment. Okay. Next. For raw materials, what you'll do? You'll take credit purchases into period, credit purchases into period, because only raw material is only purchased. Correct. We don't purchase labor, we don't purchase anything else. Okay. So whatever are my credit purchases, that will become my raw material.
Hmm.
Correct. So credit purchases into period. Trade purchases into period, or you can take direct the entire purchases, not credit period, not credit purchase, the entire purchases into period. May it be credit purchase, may it be cash purchase, doesn't matter. Okay, so entire purchases into period will give me stock of raw material. Okay, so now stock of WIP. So for WIP, what should I take? Should I take purchases? Should I take sales? Or should I take something else?
It should be how much of raw material did we put to use?
Correct. How much of raw material did we put to use? So it should be cost of production. Correct na? Cost of production hona chahiye, because in cost of production we know how much raw material has been utilized in making the finished goods. Okay? So see, sometimes they will give in the problem that WIP is based on cost of sales, or WIP is based on let us say cost of production, WIP is based on your factory cost. They will give, but if nothing is given, you have to find out what is the cost of production. Correct. In cost of production into period, that you will do, but it is not finished goods, right? It is not finished goods, it is work in progress. So it must be only completed up to certain percent. Since it is work in progress, it is not 100% completed. If it is 100% completed, it becomes finished goods, right? So WIP, you should take cost of production into period into whatever is the percentage completion. That you have to remember. In WIP, this you have to remember, that WIP is always going to be at a certain stage. It will not be 100% complete. Okay. If nothing is given, you will assume that it is 100% complete, and then you will record it that way. Okay.
Then we will record it in finished goods or WIP only?
WIP separately will record, finished goods separately will record.
नहीं, you're saying ना कि अगर नहीं दिया है तो we have to record it as 100%.
100%. So WIP will be cost of production into period into 100%. Correct.
Okay.
And finished goods will not be cost of production, because finished goods हम लोग क्या है, last stage पे है हम लोग. So it will be cost of sales. It will be cost of sales. Means what? Cost of production plus selling and distribution expenses भी add करेंगे ना finished goods के लिए. See, what is the logic? What is the logic behind it? Raw material तो just factory में आया है. Raw material has just come into the factory. So you only take purchases. Correct.
Okay.
WIP means what? After production. Okay, but before sending the goods to go down for sales. Correct. Because WIP cannot be sold, sent for sales, right? WIP cannot send to be sold. So WIP is only till cost of production. That is the logic. So logically, WIP should only be till your production gets finished. Okay. But finished goods, what I decide to sell becomes sale. Okay. But what I have not sold becomes stock of finished goods. Correct. मतलब मैंने क्या किया है, मैंने एडवर्टाइजमेंट एंड मार्केटिंग एक्सपेंसेस इनकर कर दिया है मैंने. I have incurred every marketing and advertisement expenses, and then I have decided what to sell and what not to sell. Correct. What is not sold becomes my stock of finished goods. So that's why we will not take it on cost of production. We should take it on cost of sales. Correct. So cost of sales into period. See if you have understood the logic behind taking purchase, cost of production, and cost of sales.
Purchases is fine.
रॉ मटेरियल के लिए परचेस लेंगे, WIP के लिए कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन लेंगे, और फिनिश गुड्स के लिए कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स लेंगे. So technically this should be your logic. Okay, but generally in F9 ACCA guys will give you that for WIP what should be used and for finished goods what should be used.
Okay.
Correct na? Okay. Then other receivables will be your prepaid expenses. Okay. Prepaid expenses means what? Expenses have already been incurred. Service is receivable. Correct. So again it is type of a receivable, right? So prepaid expenses into whatever is the period. Prepaid expense into whatever is the period. Okay. Or you can say outstanding income. Outstanding income means what? Service is already given, income is yet to be received. Outstanding income into period. that will be my other receivables. Correct. So I'll get what? Therefore, I'll get current assets for the period. I'll get current assets for the period. Correct. Minus what I do, what I want to do. I want to do current liabilities. So current liabilities will be creditors, or I can say any payables. So that will be creditors and bills payable both. I include in creditors. Okay. And other payables also I'll write it separately. So when I talk about creditors, now I'll take what? I'll take only credit purchases into period. I'll not take cash purchase over here. Because creditors कौन होते हैं? We have taken the goods. We have taken the goods, but payment is not made. Correct. So we have purchased the goods on credit. See, for raw material, we have taken the entire purchases. For raw material, we have taken the entire purchase. May it be your cash purchase or may it be your credit purchase. But for payables, we are taking only credit purchases. Correct. Again, for creditors, don't take cost of production or cost of sales. Because what are you purchasing? You are only purchasing raw material. If you take cost of production, you are also including labor and expenses which were incurred within the factory. Correct. So for payables, I will not take cost of production. I will not take cost of sales. I will just take purchases, that too credit purchases. Okay. So see, these will not be given to you in the problem. That what amount should be taken for payables, what amount should be taken for WIP, what amount should be taken for finished goods. That they will not give you. So that you have to remember that for all these receivables and payables, what is the amount I need to take. Okay. And then other payables will be what? Your outstanding expenses. Correct. Outstanding expense means what? I have already taken the service, but I have not yet made the payment. So I'm payable. So outstanding expenses into period. Correct. Or it can also be what? Pre-received income. Pre-received income. I have already received the income, but service is not yet given. So I am payable in the form of services. So that will be pre-received income into period. That will be my other payables.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, the doubt is, what about bank overdraft? Okay. Should we take bank overdraft in current liabilities or not? Okay. So bank overdraft is generally not taken in current liabilities because bank overdraft is what? It is like an unsecured loan. Correct. Bank OD is like an unsecured loan. Okay. So that will be in what? That will be in your long-term and other debts. Okay. So generally people tend to take bank overdraft in current liabilities. Okay. But bank overdraft should not be taken in current liabilities. It should be taken in unsecured loan. Okay. So if the problem says that bank overdraft is part of current liability, okay, then only we'll take bank OD in current liabilities. Otherwise, we should show it in unsecured loan. Okay.
Unsecured.
Sorry.
Unsecured loan.
हाँ, unsecured loan में लेंगे ना हम लोग, क्योंकि बैंक ओडी मतलब क्या है? करंट अकाउंट में जितना बैलेंस है, you can withdraw above that limit. So correct. So for withdrawing, for additional withdrawal, bank is not going to ask you to keep any security. That is a facility provided for current account holders. So bank is not going to ask any other security for that. So that becomes unsecured loan. So it is better to show bank overdraft in unsecured loan than showing it in current liabilities. Okay. So unless otherwise mentioned in the problem, okay, we will not take bank overdraft in current liabilities. Correct. So now I'll get what? I'll get current liabilities for the period. I'll get current liabilities for the period. Okay. So current assets minus current liability gives me what? Gives me working capital for the period. Gives me working capital for the period. Correct. but we'll not take this answer as our final answer. Okay, sometimes the companies will say add additional requirement for contingencies, for emergencies. Correct. So let us say your working capital comes out to be 2 lakhs, 200,000. Okay. So we'll not just take working capital to be 200,000. We'll add whatever contingency reserve. Okay. Whatever contingency margin is there, we'll add that, and therefore we'll get your net working capital. Net working capital. Okay. Add this only if it is given in the problem. You will add this only if it is given in the problem. Okay. But in real life, generally what companies will do, if working capital is estimated to be 200,000, okay, they will just take 220,000. They will just add around 10% for your contingency margin, emergency margin. Okay. That will give you the net working capital. That's it. That is your working capital. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Let us solve a sum then. Let us solve a sum. Okay. So these are the new type of sums they have given in the study text. These are the additional questions they have given in the study text. So you might be expecting some of these. Okay. So let us see. You can see the question, right?
Yes, sir.
So the following data relate to Mugwum company, a manufacturing company. Sales revenue for the year 1.5 million, and the costs as a percentage of sales are given as direct material 30%, direct labor 25%, variable overheads 10%, fixed overheads 15%, and selling and distribution overheads 5%. Correct. So in short, we know material cost, we can calculate production cost, and we can also calculate cost of sales. Correct. So material cost will be what? Material cost will be only 30%. Okay. Cost of production will be what? Material plus labor plus fixed overheads plus variable overheads. Correct. 95% will be cost of production, and selling and distribution is 5%. So cost of sales will be your
5%.
5%. Correct. So sorry, not 95%. How much this comes to? 30 plus 25, 55, 65, 80%. Correct. So cost of production will be 80%, and cost of sales will be 80 plus 5, 85%. Correct. Because we should know that we need purchase cost separate, cost of production separate, and cost of sales separate. Correct. Okay. Next, average statistics relating to working capital are as follows. So they have given the period. Receivables take 2.5 months to pay. So for receivables means what? For debtors, correct? It is 2.5 months. Raw material are in inventory for 3 months. Raw material they have given 3 months. WIP represents 2 months. But see what I said, WIP is always percentage completion, right? So what they have given, WIP represents 2 months, half produced goods. Means how much? 50% complete. Correct. So WIP will be your cost of production into 2 months into 50%. Correct. So 2 months means 2 by 12. Okay. Next, finished goods represent 1 month's production. So finished goods just 1 month. We don't need percentage completion for finished goods. Then credit is taken. Material is 2 months. Material is 2 months. So this is credit is taken means this will be outstanding payments. This will be liabilities. So material मतलब हम लोग purchase के लिए use करेंगे. So that will be for creditors is 2 months. Correct. And then all other expenses will be outstanding expenses. So direct labor outstanding 1 week. Correct. Week में है तो we'll have to see how many weeks you have to take. They must have given later on. Okay. Variable overheads 1 month, fixed overhead 1 month, selling and distribution half month. WIP and finished goods are valued at cost of material, labor, and variable expenses. See, in this problem they have given. If this line was not given, then we would have valued WIP as cost of production and finished goods as cost of sales. Correct. But in this problem, they are specifically given that WIP and finished goods both are valued at what? Cost of material plus labor plus variable
Variable.
expense. So we are just ignoring fixed overheads and S&D while calculating inventory. Correct? But this is specific to this problem. Huh? It is specific to this problem. If this line was not given, the second last line was not given, we would have taken WIP as cost of production and finished goods as cost of sale. Okay. Compute the working capital requirement of Mugwuk company, assuming that labor force is paid for 50 working weeks in each year. So when the calculation is in weeks, the period will be divided by 50 instead of 52. Okay, that's it. So we have to just calculate our amounts then. Correct. So let us calculate these first. Let us calculate costs first. Okay.
सर वो 50 से डिवाइड क्यों करना है, नॉट 52?
कौन सा? क्योंकि
अभी आप
वन ईयर में 52 वीक्स आता है ना. हाँ, but here they are specifically mentioned. Here they are specifically mentioned that last line, labor force is paid for only 50 working weeks in each year.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, sir.
So let us first calculate these amounts. Okay, let us first calculate these amounts. So sales is given directly. Sales is given 1.5 million. Correct. Then material is 30%, labor 25%, variable overheads 10%, 15% and 5%. Correct. So 30%. Then 25, 10, 15, 25%, 10%, 15% and 5%. Correct. So this was material, labor, then variable overheads, fixed overheads, and selling and distribution overheads. So we know the exact cost now. We know the exact cost. So let us take the amounts now. This will be into 30%. Into 30%. Correct. This will be 1.5 million into 25% and so on and so forth. So that gives me the total cost. Okay. And we also know that which amount should be used for what. Correct. So for your sales, for your debtors, we'll use sales. Correct. For stock of raw material, we'll use material. But for WIP and finished goods, we'll use the total of these three. They have given in the problem. Correct. So we can also calculate material plus labor plus variable overheads. Because for WIP and finished goods, we'll need this amount, right? So material plus labor plus variable overheads. So we have got all the amounts now. We'll just multiply by the period and we'll get our working capital. Okay. Let us start then. I'll do it over here only, working capital. So calculation of working capital. We'll start with current assets. Okay, current assets में सबसे पहले will be your receivables. Correct. Then stock of raw material, stock of WIP, stock of finished goods. Then cash is not there. They are not giving anything about cash. So just let us cover these first. Okay. So receivable will be what? Credit sales into period. Correct. So they have given sales. They have given sales 1.5 million. Okay, but they have not given how much of sales are credit sales.
So we'll take entirely.
Correct. We'll assume that all sales are credit sales. But if you're assuming, you need to write a working note somewhere. Correct.
Okay.
So assuming all sales and purchases also. They are not giving anything out purchases as well, right? So assuming all sales and purchases to be on credit.
Okay.
To be on credit. Okay. So receivable will be 1.5 million into period. 1.5 million into period. What is the period for receivables? Receivables take 2.5 months to pay. They are given 2.5 months to pay. So 2.5 divided by 12. Divided by 12. That is your receivables amount. That will be credit sales. That is entire 1.5 million assumed to be credit into 2.5 by 12. Okay. For stock of raw material, we'll take raw material. We only take raw material into period. We'll only take raw material into period. Okay. So material period. Now see, they have given material period twice. Huh? Raw material are in inventory for 3 months and credit is taken for material 2 months. But we are taking raw material for inventory. So we are taking the first period, 3 months period. Stock of raw material. So that's why we need raw material in inventory for 3 months. So that will be into 3 by 12. 3 by 12. Correct. WIP will be what? WIP generally we take cost of production. But here they have specifically given that for WIP take material plus labor plus overheads. So that into period. Correct. And into percentage completion. So first I'll write 50% because they have clearly mentioned that WIP is half produced goods. Correct. Into period. What is the period for WIP? So see, they have given WIP represents 2 months half produced goods. So that will be amount into 2 by 12 into 50%. Okay. Amount into period into percentage completion. And finished goods also. Generally, we have taken cost of sales. Generally, we would have taken cost of sales. But in this problem, they are specifically mentioned for finished goods also take material plus labor plus variable overheads. So that into finished good inventory period. So finished goods represent 1 month's production. So into 1 by 12 into 1 by again same 81 to 50. Okay, done. So next is cash. Cash, nothing is given, but you should write cash and keep it blank. Other receivables, that is also not given. Other receivables is not given, keep it blank. Therefore, you'll get total current assets. Total current assets. The total will be sum of all of these. That's it. That is the current asset. That is the total of current assets. Correct. So now I want current liabilities. Current liabilities. Okay. First will be your creditors or payables. So for creditors, I'll take material into period. Creditors will be purchase of raw material. So purchase, we only purchase material. We don't purchase labor. We don't purchase any overheads. Correct. So creditors will only take purchase. That is only material. Correct. Into period. Now what is the period? This will be the period of credit that we have taken. So these periods. So credit taken for material is 2 months. So into 2 by 12. Into 2 by 12. That's it. That is for creditors. And now I need other payable. Other payables. That is your outstanding labor. Correct. What all they have given? Outstanding labor, variable overheads, fixed overheads, and S&D. So outstanding labor, outstanding variable overheads, outstanding fixed overheads, and outstanding selling and distribution overheads. That will be your other payables. That will be your other payables. Okay. So labor, for labor, we'll take labor into period. So this is the labor into period. What is the period for labor they have given? Direct labor is 1 week. So we would have taken 1 by 52. Correct? We would have taken 1 by 52. But in this problem, in the last line, they have specifically given that labor force is paid for only 50 working weeks. So into 1 by 50. Okay.
Oh, sir.
Variable overheads will be variable overheads into period. Variable overheads into period. So that is 1 month. So into 1 by 12. Into 1 by 12. Fixed overheads will be fixed overheads into period. Fixed overheads is how much? Again 1 month. And S&D is half month. So this will be 1 by 12. And this will be half month. So S&D into 0.5 by 12. Done. So that will give me total current liabilities. That will give me total current liability. Sum of all of liabilities. Okay. So working capital will be current assets minus current liability. Total current assets minus total current liability. That is my working capital. Okay. Add contingency margin. But in this problem, it is not given. So keep it blank. So net working capital will be same. Will be same. I think we did not add creditors, is it? Here in current liabilities. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So this will be, sorry. Okay. So that will be answer. I think we did not add creditors. So add creditors also. So now it will be correct. Working capital will be current assets minus current liabilities. Okay. Okay, done.
Huh, sir.
Simple A, working capital.
Huh.
Okay, next. I'll not save it now then. You're done this.
Okay, sir. Huh.
Okay. So next concept will be your early settlement discounts. Next concept will be the early settlement discount. Okay. So this is more like management of receivables rather than the entire working capital. correct? Because in current assets, it is very important that we know a correct, credit policy, that how
Okay.
to keep our customers satisfied, okay, while still looking out for our own liquidity. Because see, if I give too much time for my receivables, my customers will be happy, okay, but it means my money will be stuck outside for a longer time, and that will affect my liquidity.
Okay.
So what I want to do, I want to give discounts to my customers and ask them to pay up early. So let us say I have sold goods to you on credit, and I have given you 3 months as a credit period. Okay. So I sold goods you today, and I'm expecting payments 3 months down the line. But let us say after 1.5 months, I feel that my company needs some money to start a new project. Okay. So now I cannot ask you that pay up early. I cannot tell you that pay up after 1.5 months, because I had already given you time of 3 months. Okay. So instead, what I'll tell you, I'll call you up and I'll say, if you pay, we have come up with a policy that if you pay 1.5 months early, we can give you, let us say, 3% to 4% discount. Correct. So now I want to know whether giving that discount, okay, makes sense from our cash point of view, from our profit point of view. Okay. If even after giving discount, I'm still ending up having profits, okay, then only I should give discount. Otherwise, I should not give discount. Okay. But then you will think that if you are giving discount, it is kind of loss. If you are giving discount, it is kind of a loss, right? No, because I'll tell you why. Because your money is coming back in 1.5 months instead of 3 months. Correct. So that remaining 1.5 months, correct, you don't need to borrow money from outside. So your interest cost is saved. Correct. So that interest cost will be compared with your discount cost. Correct. The money that you have received earlier, you can invest it somewhere else and earn income. Correct. So that income will be compared against your discount allowed. Okay. And if income is greater than discount, then giving the discount makes sense. If income is lesser than discount, then giving discount does not make any sense. Okay. So that is what we have to calculate. In your early settlement discounts. Okay. So apart from early settlement discount, they will also ask you EOQ, economic order quantity. Have you done that before anywhere else?
Yes. Like FM classes were done in the college, so yeah, we did it there only.
So I'll not waste time in teaching EOQ. EOQ जितना simple है उतना ही level का है. Okay, there is nothing new in EOQ. Okay. So and that is only for 2 marks question. So EOQ formula based है, वो एक बार देख लो. अगर नहीं समझ में आया तो पूछ लो फिर. Okay. Okay. So this is important. Early settlement discounts will become important. Let us see them. Okay. Paisley company has sales of 20 million for the previous year. Receivables at the year end of $4 million, and the cost of financing receivables is covered by an overdraft at an interest rate of 12% per annum. It is now considering offering a cash discount of 2% for payment of debts within 10 days. Okay. So first thing, before you start a sum, you should know what is the existing credit period. Correct, na? Because see what they're saying, you will get a discount if debts are settled within 10 days. But what is the current settlement period? They have not given. What is the original credit period? They have not given. Okay. So first thing we'll calculate what? We'll first calculate your original credit period. How to calculate that?
Formula,
See, now we can still apply the working capital logic. How did we calculate receivables? Receivables were credit sales into period. Correct. So now period can be credit sales, receivables divided by credit sales. Correct. Same logic of working capital. Huh? Receivables was equal to credit sales into period. Okay. So I'll take the credit sales from right hand side and I'll bring it to left hand side. So receivables divided by credit sales will give me period.
Huh.
Simple logic. Okay.
Huh.
So I'll just open up an Excel. Okay. So for our receivables, what we did in our working capital, receivables was equal to credit sales into period, and period was usually known. Okay, but now I don't know the current period, so what I'll do, I'll bring this credit sales over here. So receivables divided by credit sales will become what? Will become my, as simple as that. Correct. So how much are the receivables in this problem? It has a receivables at year end of 4 million and total sales are 20 million. Okay,
20
again we
million.
are assuming that all sales are credit sales. Correct, because
Yes.
nothing is given. Correct. So 4 million by 20 million. So that will be 4 by 20. Correct. But I want in number of days, right? I want this in number of days. So into 360 will give me what? Will give me my period.
3 days.
Okay. If I wanted this in months, I would have done 4 by 20 into 12 months. If I wanted this in weeks, I would have done 4 by 20 into 52.
360.
Correct. Why are we calculating in days? Because here it is in days. The new policy is in days, right? The new policy is in days. So here we are calculating in days. Correct. So period will be 4 by 20 into 365. So 73 days is my current policy where I am offering no discount. Correct. So you can take the goods and make the payment after 73 days. You can take the goods and make the payment after 73 days, but you will not get any discount. Correct. But now, what is the new policy? New policy is you need to make the payment in 10 days. You need to make the payment in 10 days. Correct. You need to make the payment in 10 days. They have given, right? It is now considering offering a cash discount of 2% for payment of debts within 10 days. Okay. See, now they can even give payments of debts are made 10 days before the current period. That also they can give. Huh? The new policy will be 63 days. Correct. So you have to read the question properly. Okay. So here they have clearly given within 10 days. Okay. They have not given within 10 days of original period. Okay. So if new policy is given 10 days, okay, what happens? Company will have to give 2% discount. Company will have to give 2% discount. Correct. And how many customers will take this offer? Should it be introduced if 40% of the customers will take up the discount? Correct. So not everybody is going to take our discount. Huh? Not everybody is going to take our discount. Only 40% customers. 40% customers will take the discount. Will take the discount. Correct. But then what will happen? It means my company will save up 63 days. My company will save 63 days of liquidity. Correct. Because I was supposed to receive money 73 days back, but now I am receiving the money only within 63 days.
Okay, sir.
I'm receiving the money only within 10 days, so I am saving up 63 days.
3 days. Okay.
Correct. So now I'll compare. This will be my cost. Correct. This will be my cost. Okay. And due to liquidity, there will be an income. Okay. So
Huh.
due to
Huh.
giving discount, there will be cost, correct? And due to saving 63 days, there will be what? There will be an income, correct? So I'll see if the income is greater than cost, then giving this discount makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay, but if the income is lower than cost, then giving this discount does not make any sense, correct?
Hmm.
Okay, so let us see. So calculating the cost is simple. Correct? So now what I am going to do, first I'll calculate the cost. Calculate cost of discount offered, correct? So what is the discount? Discount is 2% into sales. So sales is what? 20 million. Don't take discount into credit receivables. Huh? Don't take discount into receivables, because discount is offered not on receivables. Discount is offered on the sales.
Hmm.
So don't take 2% into 4 million. Correct? So 2% into 20 million would have been my total cost. Correct?
Hmm.
But all of my customers have not taken this. Only
Hmm.
40% of
40%.
if all customers would have taken, then I would have to give total discount of 20 million into 2%. But my total sales are not 20 million now, because only 40% customers are taking this offer. So my actual sales for discounted sales will be 20 million into 40%. Okay, so that comes out to how much? $160,000. You can formulate it. You can just formulate it. Otherwise, 20 into 40% into 2%. Correct? $160,000 is my cost. Correct? That is my cost. So cost calculation is done. Cost calculation is done. So yeah. Now I want to calculate what is my income. What is my income due to liquidity, due to saving, due to, I can say, saving 63 days. Due to saving 63 days. Correct, no? Okay. So see, yeah, if I had not given any discount, okay, if I had not given any discount, okay, my cost of receivables would have been what? $20 million, correct, into 73 days. Okay, and into what is the interest cost? The cost of financing receivables, they are clearly given. Cost of financing receivables is covered by an overdraft at an interest rate of 12%. Correct? Because see, yeah, what is the logic here? That logic is very important. If I had not given any discount, correct, what I would have done, I would have not received my money for 73 days, correct? And during these 73 days, if I wanted to start a new project, I would have to borrow money. I have to borrow my money from the bank, or I would have to take an overdraft. Correct? Because I have promised my customers a period of 73 days. So I would not have asked for any money for 73 days. Okay. So if my company during these 73 days, if my company needs money, I cannot ask my customers, and I have to borrow from the outside. Correct? I will have to borrow from the bank, and that rate would have been what? That rate would have been 12%. Correct? So that was my logic. Okay. So I would have borrowed 20 million, correct, into 73 days. So into 73 by 365, huh? Correct, and into 12%.
0.4.
4,80,000 would have been my cost. Correct, because I'm not getting the money for 73 days, because I had promised my customer that you can have 73 days. So if I need money, I would have to borrow at 12%. Now that was due to existing policy. Okay. Now new policy. New policy. What happens? Let us see how my cost of receivables are going to be. What my cost of receivables are going to be. Okay. Now I will have to divide my receivables into two parts. 40% customers will give me in 10 days. Correct. Now 40% customers, I don't need to wait for 73 days. 40% customers will pay me in 10 days if new policy is implemented, and the remaining 60% will pay me in 73 days. See if you understood this part.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Because I am not saving 63 days on all my customers. Only 40% of my customers are taking the policy. So only for 40% customers, it is 10 days, but remaining 60% will still remain at 73 days. Correct. So cost of receivable will be what? It will be 20 million, correct, into 10 days, correct, into 12%. This will be one cost. And for other customers, so sorry, this will be 20 million to 40%. 20 million to 40% customers. So 40% customers will get 10 days into 12%, and other 60% will get 73 days into 12%. See if you understood this.
Yes, sir.
So this will be 20 million into 40%. Okay, these customers will have 10 by 365 into 12%. These customers have 20 million into 60% into 73 by 365 into 12%. Okay, so total cost will be this plus this plus 314,301. That would be my new cost. That would be my new cost. So cost has reduced. Cost has reduced, right? With existing policy, cost was 4,80,000. And with new policy, cost was only 314,301. Therefore, cost saved will be what? Cost saved will be 4,80,000 minus 3,1. So cost saved due to 63 days. 63 days. Understood this?
Yes, sir.
So now see what was my so cost saved means what? Cost saved means my income, right? So my income is this amount 165,698, correct? And my cost of discount, my discount expenditure was how much? We had calculated that, na?
We didn't calculate.
This one 1,60,000. Calculation of cost of discount offered.
1,60,000.
1,60,000. So income is higher and expenditure is lower. So we are having a profit. So profit of how much? This minus this. So we are having a benefit due to offering discount. Okay. So new policy should be adopted. See if you understood this.
Yes, sir.
So what we have done, we have taken the new policy, we had compared cost of new policy and income due to saving of 63 days. Correct? And then we have compared income with the cost. So income was something around 1,65,000 and cost was coming out to 1,60,000. Correct, na? So calculating the cost is very easy. Cost is what? Simple. The total sales into number of customers into 2%. That is the cost. Okay. This income due to saving of 63 days was important. Okay. Due to existing policy, cost was higher, but due to new policy, cost was lower. Okay. So due to new policy, there is what? There is saving in cost. 4,80,000 minus 3,14,000. That is your saving in cost. So saving in cost becomes my income. And this income of 1,65,000 will be compared with 1,60,000 of cost. Okay. If the cost of discount was higher and cost saved was lower, then new policy should not be taken. Correct? New policy should not be adopted, and giving discount does not make sense. Okay. So that is how you will calculate early settlement discount. That is how you will calculate your early settlement discounts. Okay. Next, let us understand the last term, factoring arrangement. Okay. So first, let us understand what is the concept of factoring. Okay. Let us understand what is the concept of factoring. Okay. So see, the concept is the management should focus on what? On its activities, on its operations. So management should focus on its operating activities. Okay. And it should not worry about collecting the payment from its customer. Correct. See, collecting the payment from its customer is important. Okay. That I have given you goods on credit and I have not received the payment. So collecting payment from you is very important. Okay. But my main focus should not be behind collecting payments. My main focus should be what? Generating new sales. So management should focus its entire its time and energy on what? On operating activities, that is generating new sales. Okay. So this activity, which is also important, okay, should be what? Should be outsourced. किसी और को appoint कर दो. Correct? That is wasuli agent in short. So factors are nothing but what? Factors are the people who will collect payments, on behalf of the company. Correct? So I have appointed, let us say I have sold goods to Anshika, but I am appointing Sumant to collect payment from Anshika. Correct? So Sumant becomes what? Sumant becomes a factor. Sumant will become a factor. Anshika will be the customer, and me as the management will not worry about collecting payment from Anshika. I have asked Sumant to do it. Correct? So Sumant becomes what? Sumant becomes my factor. Sumant is a factor. Okay. Now, factor can give different type of services. Factor can give different type of services. So alternative one, factor will say, I'll only collect payment. That's it. I'll only collect payment. So the fees that he charges will be lower. Okay. He's only collecting the payment, so he's charging lower fees. Okay. What is the benefit for the company? Benefit for the company will be what? It will save administration charges of collection. Correct? So company generally appoints what? Company generally appoints your employees who can go and collect payment from the customers. So company don't need to appoint those now. So company will save administration cost of collection. Okay, that is one type of a factor. That is one type of a factor. So Sumant can only give these services. That is only payment collection services. So he will charge lower fees, and there will be only one benefit for my company. Okay. Now, alternative 2 is that Sumant will say, I'll collect payment. I'll not only collect payment, okay, but also guarantee the payments. I'll also guarantee the payment. So if some of your customer does not pay your amounts, okay, I'll not let it happen bad dates. I'll not allow that bad dates will happen. I'll pay on the customer's behalf. So Sumant is guaranteeing that all debtors, all receivables are 100% collected. Correct. So now, obviously, what he'll do? He'll charge higher fees. Okay. Now, benefit for the company. There will be two benefit. First is what? Save admin cost. That is their admin cost is saved. Okay. And what is the second benefit for the company?
Receive everything like.
Correct. So reduction of bad debts. Okay. So there will be no bad debts. Okay. So company will receive everything. All amount will be received by the company. But since company is having two benefits, it will have to pay higher fees to Sumant. Correct. Now, see what the third alternative can be. Sumant will say, I'll collect payment. Okay, I'll collect payment on due date from the customer. Okay, but I'll pay to company beforehand only. I'll pay to company beforehand. Okay, so for example, credit period was 73 days. Credit period was 73 days. So I'll collect payment from customers in 73 days. Okay, after 73 days, but I'll pay you guys. I'll pay to the company in 10 days only. Means what? Means what? He's in short financing my receivables. Correct. Sumant is going to finance me the receivables. Okay. So his fees will again be what? His fees will be higher. His fees will be higher. Correct. So he will charge fees for collecting the payment, and he is kind of giving you a loan, right? He is kind of giving you a loan. So you'll have to pay interest on that loan. So that's why the total fees will be higher. So if you're understanding the third alternative.
No, sir.
Huh? Now, what will be the benefit? Save admin cost. That will be one benefit. Correct. And second benefit will be what? Liquidity. Liquidity. Just like in the last problem that we did. Correct. Company will have liquidity. So company's cost of financing will be saved. So there will be saving in cost. So that will be income for the company. Okay. So factor can be any of these three. Factor payments can be, appointment of factors can be any of these three forms. Okay. So obviously they might not ask you the first one because first one is pretty straightforward, or they might ask you only in your multiple choice questions. Okay. Second or third will be what would be expected in the exam. Okay. Now, here we are not going to calculate whether it is a profit or loss, because factor services we are taking a service. So cost will always be higher than the benefits. Cost will always be higher than the benefits. Okay. So here we are not going to calculate the benefit, whether there is benefit or not. We are going to calculate what is the net cost to the company after deducting the benefits. Okay. So here you are not deciding whether to appoint the factor or not. Here you are not deciding whether to appoint the factor or not. Here you are going to calculate that if I appoint a factor, how much is my cost? Okay. How much is my benefit? Okay. So cost will be higher, benefit will be lower. Okay. Still, but because of benefit, my net cost will reduce. So what is the total cost of hiring the factor? Okay. That is what we'll calculate in factoring. That is what we'll calculate in factoring. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll see one sum then. We'll see one sum on factoring.
Huh.
Again, factoring question is pretty important. Factoring question is pretty important. Okay. Let us see. Eden is a medium-sized company producing a range of engineered products, which it sells to the wholesale distributors. Recently, its sales have begun to rise rapidly due to economic recovery. However, it is concerned about its liquidity position and is looking at ways of improving the cash flow. Total sales are 16 million per annum. Okay. Average receivables are 3.3 million. Okay. Representing what? Representing about 75 days of sales. So even if they had not given 75 days of sales, we could still have done it. How would we have done it? Your 3.3 divided by 16 into 365. Correct, na? Receivables divided by sales into 365 days would have given me the period. So that comes out to 75.28. Okay, but they have told us to take it as 75 days of sale. Okay. One way of speeding up the collection from receivables is to use a factor. They have clearly said that we have to use a factor. Determine the relative cost and benefit of using the factor in each of the following scenarios. So two separate questions. Let us focus on question A. Factor will operate on service only basis. Only service. Factor is only giving me service. Administering and collecting payment from Eden's customers. So they are only collecting the payments. They are only collecting the payment. This is expected to generate administrative savings of $100,000 each year. Since we have appointed the factor, correct? Our time and energy is saved, correct? So our salary to our employees is saved, salary paid to our employees is saved. So that saving is what? $100,000. So due to appointing the factor, we are having one benefit, that we are saving administration cost of $100,000. Okay. The factor has undertaken to pay outstanding debts after 45 days, regardless of whether the customers have actually paid or not. Okay. So now see, factor is not just going to collect the payments. Okay.
He's also guaranteeing it.
And he is guaranteeing in how many days?
45.
Instead of how many days?
75.
Correct. So are we not even saving on days? Correct. We are even saving on days. Correct. But for all of this, what the factor is going to do? The factor will make a service charge of 1.75% of Eden's revenue, and Eden could have borrowed at an interest rate of 8% per annum. Correct. So cost of financing will be 8%, and cost of factor will be what? 1.75%. So now we have to calculate. Now we have to compare. Only in the first scenario, we are only going to compare the A scenario. Okay. So see, can I say I have two savings? Can I say I have two savings? One is my saving of 100,000 admin cost. That is one saving, correct? And what is the other saving that I have?
Is it reduction of bad debts?
Not reduction of bad debts, but reduction of the period. I would have gotten my receivables back in 75 days, but now getting it back in what? 45 days?
5 days.
Correct. So I am saving 30 days. Correct. So for 30 days, I don't need to bear any interest. I don't need to pay any interest now. Correct. And what is the interest rate? 8%.
8%.
Correct. मतलब last problem जैसी हो गया ना ये. Correct. So cost of financing would have been what? Would have been 75 days. Correct. Into 16 million. But now the cost of financing will be what? 16 million into 45 days. So in short, my savings will be what? 16 million into 30 days. So directly भी कर सकते हैं अपन directly भी कर सकते हैं. Correct. 16 million into 30 days. At what? At 8%. So now I have got two benefits: admin cost saving of 100,000 and my time saving at 8%. That is the second benefit. So these are my two benefits. But for that, I have to pay cost of 1.75%. Correct? So I have to find out my net cost. I'll have to find out my net cost. करते फिर ये अपन. So cost of factoring, that will be one thing, and benefits due to factoring will be other thing. Correct? Cost of factoring is simple. What is the cost of factoring? They have clearly given. Cost of factoring is 1.75%. So 16 million into 1.75%. They are given, right? The cost of factoring is, factory will make a service charge of 1.75% of Eden's revenue. So revenue was what? Revenue was 16 million into 1.75. Into 1.75%. So $280,000 is my cost. $280,000 is my cost. Correct. Now benefits due to factoring. First benefit is what? Saving in admin cost. Saving in admin cost is the first benefit. That is straightforward given. How much is the saving? $100,000. Clearly they have mentioned it, na? The factory will operate and this is expected to generate admin savings of $100,000. Straightforward given. What is the second saving? Same like last problem. Correct? If factor not appointed, if factor was not appointed, how much I would have paid? I would have paid your $16 million, correct, into 75 days, correct, 75 by 365, correct, and into 8%. I'll have paid it at 8% if factor was not appointed. See, but if factor is appointed, I'll pay at what? I'll pay $16 million into 45 by 365 into 8%. See, na? Correct. So therefore I'll get savings. So let us see how much is that. So this will be 16 million into 75 by 365 into 8%.
26301.
Correct. So this would have been my cost. Okay. But now due to appointing of the factor, what has happened? I only pay 16 million into 45 days into 365. So I only end up paying 1,57,000. Correct? Therefore, cost saved will be what? Cost saved will be this minus this. Just like last problem. So $205 is my cost saved. So this is an income. This was my income. Correct. And this $100,000 is also in my income. Correct. So this was an income. Marked in red. And this one is also income marked in red. Correct. So total benefit. Therefore, total benefit will be how much? Total benefit will be this amount plus 100,000. So 205 is my total benefit. Correct. And total cost was how much? Total cost we had already calculated.
28, like
Correct.
0.28 million.
So 2,80,000 was my total cost. Therefore, net cost of hiring the factor will be what? Will be 2,80,000 would be my cost, but still I'll save 205, 205. So my actual cost is only 74,000. So my actual cost of factoring is only 74,000. So it is a loss for my company, but doesn't matter. My time and energy is saved. Correct? My time and energy is saved. I can focus on what? I can focus on my sales. I can focus on my operating activities, and I don't need to worry about all this collection, right? I don't need to worry about all this collection. Okay. So you're not going to say that there is a loss, so factor should not be appointed. Because appointing a factor is also saving me what? Also saving my time and energy, and I can focus more on sales. Okay. So the A part is simple. A part was done. Okay, no problem over here.
No, sir.
Okay. Let us read the B part now. Second question. Let us read the second question. Okay. So this is one type of service. This is one type of service. Okay. Now my factor can also give me second type of service. Let us see. Let us read that. It is now considering a factoring arrangement with a different factor. So first factor was different. Second factor is different. It is now considering a factoring arrangement with a different factor where 80% of book value of invoices is paid immediately. 80% is paid immediately, which was supposed to be paid after 75 days. It is now going to be paid immediately, correct? Okay. With finance cost charged on advance at 10% per annum. Okay, but since you are taking kind of a loan, you are getting it immediately. How much is the factor going to charge? Factor is going to charge 10% as a cost. Factor is going to charge 10% as a cost. Correct? So you are getting that money immediately, but factor is going to give it as a loan to you, and you'll have to pay 10% on that. Okay. Suppose that this factory will charge 1% of sales as their fee. Anyways, factory is going to take fee also. Okay. So fees will be 1% of sales. There will be administrative savings of $100,000 as before, but that outstanding balance will be paid after 75 days. There is no change in typical payment pattern by customers this time. Okay. So again, the same thing we have to calculate. Okay. But now there will be two costs. What is the first cost? First cost will be the fees at 1%. Okay. And second will be what? He's giving you advance. Factory is giving you advance. So it is kind of a loan. That loan is at 10%. So that amount will be my cost. Correct?
Okay.
Let us see then how to do it. So second factor, there are two costs. First cost is what? First cost is your fees of the factor, which is at what? Which is at 1%. Given in the problem. Okay. And what is the second cost? Second cost is he's kind of giving you a loan. Correct? So loan given by factor. He's giving you loan, right? So loan given by factor at what rate? Factor is giving loan at 10%.
10%.
Correct? See, I'll read it again. 80% of the book value of invoices is paid immediately. So what you are supposed to receive after 75 days, now you are getting immediately as of today. So factor is giving you advance payment. So advance payment means factor is giving a loan with finance cost charged on the advance at 10%. So loan given by factor at 10%. Okay. Now benefits. Again, there are two benefits. Saving in admin cost, like before, same as before, saving in admin cost. Correct. And saving in what? Saving in time. We are also saving time now because we are getting immediately. We are getting 80% of the amount immediately. So saving in time, correct? And that will be what? That will be at as before. They have clearly said it is as before, right? There is no change in typical payment pattern. Okay. So before it was at 8%. We are saving money at 8% in part A. So here also we will be saving money at
8%.
8%. Correct. So saving in what? Saving in cost of finance. I can say saving in cost of finance of receivables at 8%. At 8%. Let us do it then. Let us do it simple. So fees of the factory is 1% of sales. It is 1% of sales. So sales was 16 million into 1%. Straightforward. So fees is simple. Fees is 1,60,000. Okay. Now, how much is the loan given by the factor? Loan given by the factor is 80% of book value of invoices. Okay. Now, how much was receivable? Receivable was not 16 million. Huh? Sales were 16 million. Okay. Out of that, receivable were only what? 3.3 million. Correct. So 80% of book value of invoices means what? 80% of 3.3 million. Don't take 80% of 16 million. Huh? Correct. Because I am going to only get amount which is receivable. I am only going to get the amount which is receivable. So sales were 16 million, but receivables were only 3.3 million. So out of those 3.3 million, I am going to get 80% as advance. So what is my loan amount? Loan amount will be, so loan will be 3.3 million into 80%. Correct. Therefore, cost of loan will be what? This will be 3.3 million.
Sir, 80% क्यों?
Because they have told now what they have told. We are going to factory is going to give advance of what? 80% of book value. Factory is not going to pay us entire 3.3 million. How much are we supposed to receive from the customers? Not 16 million. 16 million is sold. 16 million is sold. But how much are we expecting to receive? 3.3 million. Correct.
Okay.
But what is factor promising us? That
80%.
out of 3.3 million, he is only going to give us 80%. He is not going to give us the entire 3.3 million. He is only going to give us 80%. So how much is the loan he is giving? He is giving us loan of 3.3 million into 80% at 10%. Correct? So loan is 3.3 million into 80% at 10%. Correct? At 10%. So that is my loan amount. So cost will be what? Cost will be 3.3 million into factory is only promising 80% payments. So into 80%, and he will give this loan at a cost of 10%. So 2,64,000. Okay. So total cost of loan will be what? This plus this. That is the total cost of loan. That will be my total cost. This will be my total cost. Okay. Now, let us see the benefits. First benefit is they have clearly said it is same as before. Saving in admin cost will be what? $100,000. Saving in admin cost will be $100,000. So straightforward, 100,000. That is the first saving. That is my first saving. Correct. And what is the other saving? Other saving will be same. That also they have given straightforward. There is no change in typical payment pattern. There is no change in typical payment pattern. So in A part, we are saving at what? 8%, correct? So that will remain same. So here also we'll save at 8%. And how much we will save? 3.3 million into 80%, because that is what we are receiving earlier. So that will be 3.3 million into 80%. That is what we are saving. And that saving will be at 8%. That saving will be at 8%. Into 80% into 8%. So 2,12,000. Means in short, see, in short, what is happening? Factor is giving me at additional 2%, I can say. 3.3 million into 80% into 8% was my saving. And he is giving me at what? 3.3 million into 80% into 10%. Correct? So you can show it here also. 2,64,000 minus 2,12,000. Directly can show it as cost, but that will become confusing. So it is better to show it separately as cost and benefit. Okay. So my total benefit will be how much? Total income will be this plus this. Okay. So cost of factor is
more than cost of benefit.
Correct. 4,24,000 and benefit from factor is 3,12,000. So net cost of factor will be what? 4,24,000 minus 3,11,200. 1,12,800 is the total cost. So again, we are not going to say that there is a loss of 1,12,000. Okay, because due to appointing of factor, what we are going to get? We are getting our liquid money, and we are also saving our time and energy. So you should not say factor should not be chosen. Factor will be chosen where the net cost that will pay, the net cost for our company will pay 4,24,000 to the factor, but we are getting benefit also. So actual cost in hands of company is only 1,12,800. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that is your management in receivable, early settlement discount as well as factoring. Okay, so in working capital, you will be expected these three sums. Your working capital actual calculation, okay, then your early settlement discount and your factoring.
So sir, factoring may whether or not we are like always the benefit is less than cost only, but due to other factors we will appoint the factor like
because our time and energy is saved, na?
Exactly. Okay.
And management can focus this time and energy on what? On its operating activities.
Okay,
Correct.
sir.
So उससे sales बढ़ेगा ना, management का झिकझिक कम हो गया ना. Management don't need to spend time after customers that pay us. They don't need to run after customers now, and that time and energy that they are going to save, they will focus that time and energy on operating activities and on increasing the current sales. Okay, so that is your working capital. Apart from that working capital, you need to understand EOQ also. Okay, so that you already studied before, so I'll not take that. Just go through it. If there is any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, so only one concept is remaining, that is your Islamic finance. That also will cover up. Okay, because it is asked for 5 marks or up to 5 marks. It can be asked up to 5 marks. Very simple. Islamic finance concept is very simple. See, ACCA also works in Arab countries, right? So that's why it is important for us to understand Islamic finance. Okay, so only 4 to 5 concepts are there. I'll explain the English meaning and I'll give you the Islamic term, so you can easily understand what is your Islamic finance.
Okay, so this is only theory based.
थ्योरी बेस्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव के लिए आएगा, या फिर सेक्शन सी में एज अ 2 और 3 मार्क्स सब्जेक्टिव
Okay.
के लिए भी आ सकते हैं. ओके okay, so see, the main concept of Islamic finance is that you cannot make money on money. Okay, so money cannot be made just due to investment and such activities. Okay, so speculative activities से money नहीं करना है अपने को. We don't want to make money out of speculative activities. Correct? We want to make money only out of operating activities. That is the whole concept of Islamic finance. So whether I am a company or even if I am a bank, okay, so if I am lending you money, I will not charge you interest. Okay? I will not charge you interest. Charging of interest is forbidden in Islamic finance. Okay, and this concept is called as riba, R-I-B-A. Okay, let us see them. Let us see. You can see this document right on the screen. So under the principles of Islamic finance, wealth must be generated from legitimate trade and asset based investment. So only from operating activities you will generate your wealth. Okay, and you cannot generate your wealth from speculative investments. मतलब हम लोग ने क्या किया, हम लोग ने डिपॉजिट किया, we deposited money in the bank, we received interest on those deposits. That concept is not going to be there. Okay, that concept is not going to be there. So speculative investments are not allowed, and investment in areas such as alcohol and gambling are also not allowed. They are also forbidden. Okay, so your entire money, your entire wealth should only be from operating activities. It should only be from operating activities. So as a consequence of the laws regarding the generation of wealth, it is strictly forbidden to use money for the purpose of making money. That is, it is forbidden to charge interest. So if you are loaning money to someone, if you are giving a loan to someone, you cannot charge interest. You cannot charge interest. That concept is called as riba. That concept is called as riba. Then you will say, then what is the purpose of giving the loan? You cannot charge interest, but you can ask for a percentage of profit from that money. So for example, if I given loan to your company, I will not charge interest on that. Okay, but through that loan, from that loan, you have purchased an asset. From that asset, you have made sales. From those sales, you have made profit. So as a bank, I will ask percentage of that profits instead of charging the loan.
Okay.
Instead of charging the interest on the loan. Okay, so interest नहीं लेना है, हम लोगों को interest नहीं लेना है, but instead provide service for a fee or enter into a form of agreement in which risk and the profits or losses shall be shared between the bank and the customer. Okay, so it is kind of equity finance. It is kind of an equity finance. Correct. So you have the idea, you have come up with the idea. So what I'll do, I'll say I'll give you the loan, I'll give you the money. Okay, and I'm not expecting interest on this money. Okay, instead of that, when you start earning profits, I'll expect percentage of profits instead of interest. Correct. So that is the whole concept of Islamic finance. Okay, so that is the concept of riba, that banks or any institutions giving the loan cannot charge interest. You cannot make money out of money. Okay, so now let us see the 5 financial instruments in Islamic finance. So for F9 only these 5 are expected. For F9 only these 5 are expected. First is your murabaha. It is effectively a form of credit sale. Okay, so that is what I'm going to give. I'm going to tell you what is the Islamic concept. Okay, what is the Islamic concept and what is the our normal financial meaning. Okay, so murabaha is like an credit sale. Okay, where the customer receives the goods but pays for them later on a fixed date. Okay, but now see, in our normal terms in UK, in India, what happens if customer has been given 75 days? Okay, and if it does not make payment within 75 days, after the 75th day, what we again do, we start charging interest on late payment. Correct? But again, Islamic finance, what is the concept? You cannot charge interest. Huh? So here, what will happen? Instead of charging interest, a fixed price is agreed before delivery. The markup effectively including the time value of money. So they will say, while doing the credit sales, they will say, if you pay money within 75 days, you'll have to pay so and so. If you pay within 80 days, between 75 to 80 days, you'll have to pay so and so. If you pay between 80 to 90 days, you'll have to pay so and so. If you pay between 90 to 100 days, you'll have to pay so and so.
Okay.
So it is already pre-decided. It is already pre-decided. It will not be per day interest. It will not be a per day interest.
Okay.
Okay. So Murabaha is nothing but credit sale. Okay. And credit sale will be having what? Will be having specific number of days. Okay. Payment before those days, how much payment, and payment after those days, how much payment. That will be already decided in the agreement. That will already be decided in the agreement. Okay, so that is your Murabaha. That is your Murabaha credit sale. Okay. Now, Ijara. There are two types of Ijara: normal Ijara and Ijara wa Iktina. It is nothing but financial lease and operating lease. Okay. So Ijara means your operating lease, and Ijara wa Iktira means your financial lease. Okay. So see, I'll just tell, as per just your leases, the IFRS of the leases, we can understand this concept. If I am taking any asset on operating lease, nowadays what we do, we treat it as if it were taken on rent. Okay. Operating lease means what? For a shorter duration. Operating lease means I have taken the asset for a shorter duration, and I am going to treat it as if I have taken that asset on rent. Okay. So if I have given Anshika an asset on operating lease, okay, means what? I'll collect lease from Anshika, like rent. I'll collect lease from Anshika, and Anshika cannot sell that asset. Correct? Anshika cannot claim depreciation on that asset. Okay. So Anshika is just using that asset. Anshika is just going to use that asset. She is not the owner of the asset. Okay. So even if I have given you asset on lease of, let us say, 2 years, okay, you are not going to be the asset owner for 2 years. You are just going to be like a tenant. Okay. You are just going to be like a person who is renting it from me. Okay. So you will just pay me the rent, and that's it. Okay. You cannot do anything with the asset. Okay. You cannot sell the asset. Okay. You cannot claim depreciation on the asset. Okay. So that is a operating lease. That is your Ijara. Okay. And at the end of the period, I will not sell you the asset also. Okay. You just return me the asset at the end of 2 years, because life of the asset will be 10 years, right? So at the end of 2 years, I am not going to sell you that asset. You will return that asset to me at the end of 2 years.
So like basically we take the asset and use it and give it back. That's it.
Correct. That's it. We'll take the asset, use it, give it back, and also give the rent. Normal rent. It is like a normal rent. Okay. But in financial lease, it will be for a longer period of time. Okay. So now take an example. Let us say I have an asset which has a life of 10 years. And I have given that asset to you for 8 years. So effectively means what? Effectively, I am giving you the asset for almost 80% of the life of the asset. Correct? The asset life is 10 years, and I am giving it to you on lease for 8 years. So now you are almost kind of an owner. You are not the actual owner, but you are almost kind of an owner. Okay. So now you will record that asset as ROU asset, right of use asset. Okay. And now what you can do, you can use that asset. Correct. You can also claim depreciation on that asset. Okay. and you can further sublease that asset, no problem, because you have that asset for 8 years, right? So out of those 8 years, you can sublease that asset for even 2 or 3 years, no problem. Okay, and now after 8 years, after using it for 8 years, okay, what you will say? You will say, anyways, I have used it for 8 years. Okay, why not sell me that asset? Okay, instead of me returning that asset to you, I'll just purchase it from you. I'll just purchase it from you. So at the end of the period, the lessee will what? Will also purchase the asset from lessor, or the lessor can sell that asset to the lessee. It's the same thing. Okay, so that is what? That is my financial lease. Okay, so at the end of the period, we can decide what to do with the asset. Okay, either the lessee can return the asset, or lessor can sell the asset for remaining amount to the lessee. And during the period of lease, lessee can claim depreciation on that asset. So that is finance lease, which is called as what? Which is called as ijara va iktina. It will be called as ijara va iktina. Okay, so ijara is operating lease, ijara va iktina is financial lease. Okay. Next concept is mudarabba. Mudarabba means equity finance. Mudarabba is nothing but equity finance. Very simple concept. But there are two types of equity finance. So let us see which one we are talking about over here. So this is similar to equity finance or a special kind of partnership. The investor provides capital and business partner runs the business. Profits are shared between both parties, but all losses are attributable to the investor, limited to the capital provided. It is limited to the capital provided. Okay, so now see, let us take an example. You are a person who has a business idea, and I am the person who has the money. Okay, so your business idea and my money. Okay, with that we'll start the partnership. Okay, so let us say I give you 10 lakhs in the partnership. I say that here is 10 lakhs. Let us start the business, and you will handle the entire business. So you become the business partner that runs the business, and I become the investor. Okay. Now, after 1 year of operation, let us say we end up having 12 lakh of loss. Okay. So I had given you 10 lakhs. But in the first year itself, we end up having 12 lakh of loss. Now what happens? I'll bear 10 lakhs out of that loss. I'll not bear the entire 12 lakhs. As an investor, I'll bear only what? I'll only bear 10 lakhs. That is limited to the capital provided. And remaining 2 lakhs, you will have to bear. Correct? But if the business has only 8 lakhs of loss, then entire 8 lakhs I'll bear. You don't need to bear anything.
Okay.
Correct? If you have only 1 lakh of loss, entire 1 lakh I'll have to bear. You don't need to bear anything.
Okay.
Correct? So you will bear losses only if it is more than the capital provided. Okay. So I have provided you capital of 10 lakhs. So only till 10 lakhs I'll bear the loss. Any amount above 10 lakhs, you guys will have to bear it. Okay. And what if it is profits? Profits will be shared between both parties. Okay. So profits will be shared between you and me equally, or on any amount which is pre-decided. Okay. So that is called as mudarabba. That is the concept of mudarabba. So this is not a normal partnership. This is not a normal partnership. It is more like limited liability partnership. It will be more like limited liability partnership. But again, not exactly LLP. It is not exactly an LLP. Okay. Now that is one kind of partnership. That is called as mudarabba. Now there is one more concept called as musharaka. Let us see that. Where is it? Okay, here. Musharaka is also one kind of a partnership. But now see what happens. This again is similar to partnership, but here both parties provide capital and expertise. So in our last example, I was the investor, you are the person with the idea. Okay.
Hmm.
So you did not provide any capital. But here in Musharaka, what will happen? Both parties will provide capital as well as expertise. So we are like equal partners. We are like equal partners. Profits are shared between the parties according to whatever ratio is agreed in the contract. So partnership deed, whatever was agreed in the partnership deed, will share profits in that ratio. But losses are shared in the proportion of capital contributed.
Okay.
Okay. So now you are the person with the idea, I am the investor. Okay. But you also have some capital. So now in our partnership, I put up 10 lakhs of capital and you put up 2 lakhs of capital. Okay. So our capital contribution is 10 lakhs and 2 lakhs. Okay.
Hmm.
You will handle 80% of business since you have put up less capital. And since I have put up more capital, I'll only handle 20% of the business.
Hmm.
So we both are providing capital and we both are providing expertise. Okay. And then we decide the profits will be shared 50-50. Profits will be shared 50-50. So now, if profits are there, profits will be shared 50%, 50%.
Hmm.
Correct? But if losses are there, what will happen?
According to the capital.
Losses are there, then you will share only what? You will share only 20% of loss.
Huh.
Correct? And you will share loss of 2/12 and I'll have to share loss of 10/12. Correct?
Okay.
Because you had provided 2 out of 12 lakhs and I had provided 10 out of 12 lakhs, right? So now if losses are
Huh.
there, losses will not be shared 50-50. Even if the agreement says 50-50, losses will not be shared 50-50. Losses will be shared as per capital contribution.
Hmm.
Okay. So it is similar to venture capital. It is similar to venture capital. Not exactly venture capital, but similar to that. So that is my musharaka. That will be the musharaka. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And last part is your sukuk. Sukuk is your zero coupon bonds. Sukuk is like zero coupon bonds, because normal bonds will have to pay interest, right? If we issue normal bonds, we have to pay interest.
Hmm.
But what is the concept of Islamic finance? You can't pay interest. Okay.
Huh.
So sukuk is something like a zero coupon bond. Now see what happens. Zero coupon. Zero coupon means what? Zero interest. Zero interest. Huh? So I am a company. You are the person who is going to purchase the bonds. So
Yeah.
now let us say face value of the bond is 1,000. Face value of the bond is $1,000. So generally what happens? I issue the bond at 1,000. Okay. And then I'll pay you interest at, let us say, 5% and 6%.
Hmm.
On maturity, how much amount you get? 1,000 plus 5%.
5.
Okay. But in sukuk, see what happens. Face value of the bond is 1,000. Okay. But I'll issue you the bond at discount. I'll issue the bond at, let us say, 970. Okay. Always I'll do this. Face value of the bond is 1,000, but I'll issue you the bond at 970. And on maturity, how much you'll get?
1,000.
I'm not going to pay you interest, but on
Huh.
maturity, you'll get the face value.
Huh.
So have I actually paid you any interest?
No.
But still, have you earned $30 per bond?
Yeah.
Correct. So that is the concept of sukuk. So don't.
So basically, sukuk mein less than the fair value we sell, and then we get the fair value amount.
Correct. So you'll issue, the company will issue you the bonds at a discounted value, and on maturity you'll get the par value. You'll get the par value.
Okay, sir.
So actually, the company is not paying any interest. Company is not going to pay any interest.
Huh.
Okay. So that is the concept of sukuk. It is equivalent to debt finance. It is the Islamic bonds. And again, there is no fee. There is no interest. There is no interest.
Hmm.
Okay. So it is like a zero coupon bond. It is similar to a zero coupon bond.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's it. That is the concept of Islamic finance. This much is enough for your F9. So you don't need to go through that entire Islamic finance chapter. Even if you do these concepts, these are enough. Okay. And then other theory, for other theory, we have already discussed theory while I was explaining the concepts. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just give you a PDF of theory that you can go through all the theory in one single PDF. So you can go through that theory. Okay. Other all theory we have covered when we have done the practical concepts. Okay.
So Islamic finance ka theory you'll be providing us?
Islamic finance ka theory I am already providing in that PDF. So that PDF will cover all the theoretical topics in your FM.
Okay.
See, FM, there are no specific theoretical topics other than the first chapter. Correct. But what happens? Every topic, like in, for example, when we were doing your investment appraisal, correct, there was some sort of theoretical concepts. When we are doing dividend decisions, there is some sort of theoretical topics, correct. So that theoretical topics I have already explained you while explaining the practical part. Okay, but then in theory form, I'll just give you that in theory form as well separately. Okay, so one PDF I'll send, and in that PDF there will be Islamic finance also.
Okay.
Okay, so that way you, if you want to focus on theory, you can just read that PDF before going to the exam. That will be enough.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that covers up our portion. Then that will cover up our entire portion.